How's it going? Hey, Mark, you're the number one guy today. Mark, is the sound in the video okay? Okay. Everything working all right, Mark? Sound, video? Great, thanks. Hey, have you been thinking about getting another watch? Well, I know you have, but did you decide on which one? Hi, Dom. How you doing? Oh boy. Hey, Nigel. Paul. Hi, Paul. That might be true, Mark. Hey, Donald. Let me, Jonathan, hello. Uh, Earlier today, I was thinking what we could talk about this afternoon would be some specific watches that you say, oh, these would be nice ones to have of a certain type. But I was thinking about it. I had a thing the other day. I have some watches that I have to ship to Singapore, and the guy that I'm shipping them to said, uh, could you send them DHL or UPS, but not FedEx, which I thought was sort of an interesting comment. And so, what's wrong with FedEx? I've shipped with FedEx before and received with FedEx before, but I think I know what the problem is. I've also got received watches with both UPS and DHL, and I finally realized that that what the things with FedEx treat getting a watch going through customs as a surprise. We didn't know they would stop it at customs. Like, come on, guys, it's an international shipment. They have this sheet for shipping watches, and I the whole thing about it is DHL. If you ever got a watch through DHL, I got one. I forgot not too long ago. I think it came in from Japan. So I get this email. I think it was an email or text message, one of the two, and it said, "This your customs charges are going to be X. You want to pay them now?" Yeah, I hit a button, paid the customs charges, and they're not very much. At least coming into the United States, there aren't. They're pretty decent. I have a feeling that the DHL or FedEx or somebody else may take a little service charge off of it, but I don't care. It makes it easy. And it was very easy to do. And UPS had something similar. I remember it was not an issue with FedEx. So I got this thing that said exception. What? It's not an exception. It's a normal thing. And so then I thought, uh-oh, something's wrong. And then going through all of this stuff, and finally, they said, "Oh, you have to pay your uh, customs." Well, why don't they have something simple like DHL has? And I don't know. So I was going to talk to you guys about that. What experiences have you had with international shipping? Both, it doesn't matter whether to Asia or from Asia or to Europe or from Europe or anywhere else for that matter. Um, So let's see what you got. Okay, doke. Hey, Tim, Brian, Alexander, our neighbors. Uh, let's see. I had better luck with DHL. Yeah, same here. See, it's usually with FedEx, it came through eventually. First, you get this thing that says exception, and then you have to find out who do you talk to about exception? What do you do? They don't make it easy. They make it as convoluted as all get out. And then they have this form to fill out that I swore was made in 1985, and they haven't changed anything since. So anyway, the people that I've dealt with at FedEx, I was shipping so much with them at one point that I got to know the people who are involved. They were very nice. I mean, they're nice people, but you've got nice people working in a sort of a convoluted system. I don't know how they do it at DHL, but boy, it's simple. All you do is they get that you want to pay this, and yep, hit a button, boom, 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 and it Bob's your uncle, and it's all done. Um, there's another type of shipment too. Well, let's see what you got to say. Nigel, DPD are really good here in England. Okay, now, Nigel, is DPD for are these from, I guess, I don't know what what the deal is, how it works with the EU or anything like that. But I mean, if you order a watch through DPD from the US, let's say you get it one, from Joma Shop or something like that. Do they take care of all of the boy? And I know you guys, they're not. You get hit up with a special kind of thing. In the UK, buying a watch internationally is not attractive since Brexit due to 20% import duty. Yeah, that that was what I was going to talk about. Canada, I think, is has a similar thing. I think they're German. Sounds German. Um, I don't know why does it sound German. Well, it's got D for Deutschland. That's what I was thinking. Um, yeah, yeah, Paul. Man, I tell you, that really messes things up. Mistake. FedEx took a month. Yeah, see, I recently there was a some kind of survey about uh transfer services, and they compared UPS and DHL and FedEx was at the bottom. This isn't for watches, this was period. Excuse me. So I don't know what's going on with FedEx, but I tell you, FedEx is, really needs to modernize. I mean, they were modern in 1980s, but they're not anymore. Um, it's a kind of thing that is for certain kinds of packages. Actually, if I have like a document or something I want to send, or even a watch in some cases, um, I can put them in one of those U.S. mail things and send it priority mail. Gets there the next day uh, within the U.S. Sending them outside of the U.S. I sent one. I think it was. Yeah. Wait a minute. Did I? I sent one recently to Switzerland. Watch to Switzerland. That's like Coles to Newcastle. And, I haven't heard yet back whether they got it or not. What happens if you send something, at least from the US, possibly other places, by mail, what it does, it goes from here, and then it ends up in, Swiss mail, and so you can't track it because the track is broken, and I really like having tracking on a watch. Okay, let's see. Yeah, FedEx is something, boy, they need to either shake that place up or, God, I tell you, it's probably one of those things you got certain kinds of things that are you're stuck with. Um, the Yeah, USPS, Mark, I've had some good luck with. Depends what country you send it to. I have a friend over in Kuwait, and I sent him some mouse pads by USPS, and they never arrived. And he told me, he said, "Don't do that." He said, "If you're gonna send something to me, send it with FedEx works well for going to Kuwait." I don't know if that's true with Kuwait or just Kuwait or what the deal is, but these kinds of things, I think you've got to find out, which country it's coming from. Whenever I order something, usually like watch parts or something like I'm playing around with a movement or something, and I'll get it from China. They come in these great little styro, very light styrofoam containers, and I don't know what kind of mail they have on it, but I'll get this thing in the I guess it is U.S. mail, and the mail thing will ask me something about it. But so I have good luck with that. Hi, Britt. I've only had one watch shipped to me from Germany, and one from Japan. Both watches are shipped DHL. Brian, that's been my experience too. There's another thing that I had this one guy sent me this really nice watch, and he wanted to be really careful about it. And this thing is very expensive, and it came with a it showed up at my driveway in an armored car, and it had this special wired that you can't, I mean, it had a seal on it that was almost impossible to break, and so it came in this big plastic tub, and here's your watch. It was in this thing. I said, I don't want that tub. I said, why don't we just help me open it up, and I'll take it out of here, and you and your armored car could go be on your way. But the funny thing was is that the neighbors were looking at you like, "What's going on here?" Um, hey, Eli, I love the Nordic cardigan, by the way. It's the most stylish. I boy, I tell you, I think that Pee Wee Herman may have me on the style. I really. Oh, okay, let's see what else you got going up here. The worst experience is using Chrono 24. They charge you for local tax, federal and state. They do, and then they slap on with yeah, Eli, that's my thing too. Lately, my current favorite is eBay. They buy it on eBay. They goes to and if you want it goes to their evaluator, which is I don't know. I guess it's okay. But once the evaluator sends it, it may be a false sense of security, but you're not getting a replica or anything like that. But they ship it to you in such a cool box that I really like that too. Hi, Richard. Uh, since UK, yeah, left the US, only 21 sales tax, but another 20 luxury. Another, oh man, boy, yeah, I know you guys are having it rough. Um, there are all kinds of different things like that. Uh, yeah, DHL. DHL. I've always avoided DHL because I always thought they were sort of the cheap one, but man, I tell you, none anymore. I tell you something else. It's sort of funny. You guys know Mike Margolis, don't you? He's the U.S. rep for uh, Chopek. Man, our neighbors did the yard up and all of these. I think it's getting these allergies. Anyway, um, the other day there was a notice that a package that was shipped from Florida, and I'm not sure, it may have been FedEx, shipped to him from Florida was suddenly gone missing. and there was a reward out trying to find out who snabbed it. Yeah, yeah, Brian. No, there's a actually we're having a there's a bunch of watches that we're having shipped to the U.S. This watch that we're putting together ourselves. Um, and this is what Mike suggested. And boy, I tell you, after what happened to him, I'm glad he did. The way we're doing it is all of the watches are shipped together. All of the ones coming to the U.S. are shipped together, and they'll be delivered to Mike's place, to Mike Margolis's in an armored car. There's some of us in Connecticut who are, we were going to meet, and any of the watches that belong to the people who want to meet locally, we'll just do that and get it to them. And then what'll happen is that once they're through customs and everything, Mike will just ship them from here, and that's how we're going to distribute them throughout the U.S. eBay kills you with the taxes. It's not eBay's fault. Um, I had better luck with eBay on the taxes than I have with Chrono 24. Chrono 24, excuse me, Chrono 24. I think the state tax in Connecticut's about around 6.5%, something like that. And so what eBay does is that they tack, not eBay, but Chrono 24, they tack on top of that. So I'm looking at, the same thing with, oh God, the trends, their uh, conversion fees for converting from whatever the shipping, whatever the money is that they're shipping from, they will have a conversion there. Man, I need a mint. Are they going and they're going to hang on a second. Let me see. I got one right here. Nope. Um, they add charges. They take it as a service charge that they figure, well, if they have to collect taxes for the states, then they ought to hit you up to give something for the charge. They're going to charge you for charging you the for going through the trouble of collecting a state tax for them. So they make money off of everything. Hey, Junior, how you doing? Um, oh, today, yeah, I'm still wearing this. I've been wearing this for a couple days now. My Urban Jurgensen. My Urban Jurgensen. I've got a lot of favorite watches, and sometimes I'll wear some and I'll forget some of my other ones, and so this one is having for a couple days. All my neighbor is one neighbor is mowing his yard, and another one has just finished. So I'm sort of surrounded by all of this stuff. Okay, how about has anybody ever had somebody sort of like, well, let's say someone who's going to England. Let's say I was going to London, and someone got a great deal on a something from Joma Shop, let's say, and they asked me, hey, would you mind bringing that over? And I just sort of save on shipping, and when I see I can pick it up. Um, has anybody done you that kind of favor before? Something like that? I think there's another word for it. It's called smuggling, but and that's mainly to avoid big taxes. Smuggling into the U.S. just isn't worth it because U.S. customs on watches is so low. It's something like 1.5%, very, very low. And it's even lower on gold. It's the highest on uh, stainless steel because at one time there was a big stainless steel watch business here, but not anymore. No, never. Okay, um, Eli, that's always the answer you should have on an online discussion. I'll put it that way. Um, I don't know, man. I tell you, I was talking to this one guy going into Switzerland, and man, I tell you, there's certain regulations that you have to follow. Let's say that this is a Swiss watch. Urban Jurgensen is doesn't sound it, but it is. Um, if I went to Switzerland and I have this watch with me, I'd better fill out some stuff, and I should probably do the same thing in the US, is that so when I went there, they wouldn't say, "Hey, did you buy that there?" and then charge me a VAT or something like that. Usually, I think if I bought a watch, let's say in Geneva, there'd be a VAT tax, and then I coming out at the airport, I'd have to give them the forms and stuff. I've done that before. We a few years ago when we were in Nuremberg, my wife she loves these big cuckoo clocks, and so we got this giant cuckoo clock, and we were talking to the people about it. They said, "Well, look, if we ship it to you, there's not going to be any VAT, but here, if you buy it here and then take it with you, we'll have to charge VAT, and then at the border, you'll have to go through and get your VAT back." And we said, "Go ahead and ship it." So it came. The cuckoo arrived safely too. Um, Constantly think of going to the U.S. to buy a watch and come home to England. Nigel, hey, there's a great opportunity, Nigel, for you coming up October 21st, the WatchTime show in New York. That'd be a great time. You know, maybe we might have some watches that would be really important to put on your wrist and come home with. That's that's going to be one of those other challenges. We've got a bunch of watches to send from Switzerland, and Switzerland isn't part of at least I don't think so. It's not part of the economic EU. They got their own VAT, which is only 7.7% compared to what it is in Germany. I think at 25.5. I know the economy right now in Europe is really under a big shakeup, and it is in the US too, for that matter. People, coming out of COVID. I don't know why people were so surprised there was inflation after COVID because here you've got all of these people with their money, they're not going out to dinner, they're not doing anything, and also the supply chain is jammed up. The next thing you know, uh, here you have people who have funds available, but there aren't very many. The products are people haven't been working on them for a couple years, and so the number of products is pretty low, and so prices go up. There's something about supply and demand, and now of course, everybody blaming everybody else. Uh, well, I got to tell you, let me tell you whose fault it is. All my fault. So if you want to blame someone, okay. Let's see. Paul, thank you. You know, up, yeah, um, 20% is a lot. Yeah, well, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was more like isn't in the EU now around more 25%? I don't know I don't know how it works so well with some countries, why we got a break and others don't. On watches. Mainly, there's no watch industry to speak of here. There's a few guys making watches in their garages. RWG, and some of those RG. What's his name? Um, Roland RGM, Roland Murphy's thing. But that's, I don't know, and there may be some. There's really not much of that, so I don't see why any tariff would be, have to be very big in the U.S. And so having a low tariff makes a lot of sense. Um, what about a courier? Now, I guess a courier is supposed to go through customs, right? Let me tell you about another one. I think I told you guys this before. You remember this? There was a great deal that I had on an FP Journe on another residence watch about, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, and I was all set to buy the thing, and I asked the guy, I figured they're from Ukraine, and they're a shop in Ukraine, and I thought, well, they probably have some kind of shop in New York, probably on 47th Street, where a lot of interesting stuff is going on. And what I could do is I could ship it, and I could go to New York and pick it up and pay whatever the remaining amount was for it. So I'm asking a guy about it, and um, he told me he was sending it by courier, and that's when I figured that's what they're going to do. So he said, no, you're going to need to pick it up by the airport. And I said, okay. And this is out of JFK. So going to New York, take the train out to JFK, get the watch, pay for the rest of it. Now we're talking about having to have, I don't know how much, $10,000, $15,000 in cash on me. Not that that's, it's on the one hand, not crazy amount, but it's not chump change either. So the more I talked to the guy, he said, "Well, finally," he said, "our courier is a stewardess." In other words, I've known stewardess who brought a lot of jewels back from Mexico, not Mexico, but South America, and they just put it in their, I don't know where they put a few emeralds in their night cream and come across, and they get a nice little tip. Okay, so there's two things you guys pay. You pay a VAT plus I get you. So you have an import duty plus VAT. Now, I know that that's sort of another interesting thing to wrestle with. FAB. Okay, FAB is, what does FAB stand for, Nigel? So you got an import duty plus. Jesus. Paul, why don't you and Nigel hop a plane and come on over to the Watch Time show? You leave happy. Why does eBay charge tax when I buy from London to ship to the US? Yeah, it's a state tax, and I agree. I'm not sure how that works. I suppose if you buy something, the way they're still getting a little more used to um, state taxes. Hey, tuna. Um, and so I think whenever there's a chance to charge taxes, they always add that little extra to them. To them, it doesn't matter whether it's from London or from Timbuktu. They want to. They figure, well, we better do it. The states, on the other hand, they're really squawking about it. Also, they're saying, well, we got a state tax, and everybody else pays state tax, and I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Um, it's not fun. State tax never is. No taxes are any fun, but that's what it is. Okay, well, listen, I'm sort of out of time, but I just wanted to these are some things I think that the more we understand it and the more we understand the nuances of it, I think the better off we're going to be, because there are too many good deals internationally. I know that a lot of great deals are in companies here in the U.S., not watch companies, but watch brokers. I don't know, or something like Droma shops and things like that. And so, I tell someone, say, hey, here's a great price on something. Mm. And so that's what I think if there's some way that this can be done in a legal way that can mitigate a lot of these overcharges. I mean, charging is that's going to happen, but I think they're overcharging. I really do. Is it worth coming to NYC for the Watch Time show? Is it worth it? If they haven't sold out Friday night, it certainly is. I've been going to that for I don't know, I think almost since they started about 5 or 6 years ago. My wife and I'd go, and we always had a really good time. Now that's Friday night. During the day on Saturday, and now they're Saturday and Sunday, they have these workshop with all of these famous watchmakers. On Friday night, they have a sort of a party, really. It's a cocktail party, and uh, it's a lot of fun. The thing that I like most about the Watch Time show, last year I went there and there were a lot of people that I got to see from previous years and new people I got to meet. And we didn't get to see too many watches because we saw old friends and new ones and we started talking. And that I think is the important thing about the shows is that you get to see these other people you used to work with. Brian, he just throw the box over the fence. Okay. All right, on that, that comes under plan B. Anyway, everybody take care and be safe.